Kumayt said, "May my parents be your ransom. I compose verses for others for the sake of money and about you for the sake of Allah, and I don't accept money for that which I compose for the sake of Allah." When Abdullah insisted much, Kumayt accepted the sale deed and went away. But he returned after a few days and said, "O son of Allah's messenger, may my parents be your ransom. I have a need." Abdullah replied, "Whatever you ask will be given." Kumayt presented the sale deed of the aforesaid property and said, "Please accept this." Abdullah picked up the document and accepted it. Abdullah ibn Muawiyah ibn Abdullah ibn Ja'far told the people of Bani Hashim, "Kumayt has composed verses in your praise, and during these days when people have ceased praising you, he has endangered his life to expose the tyrannies of Bani Umayyah. You should appreciate his work, encourage him, and help him as much as you can." Abdullah collected money for Kumayt. Even the women donated their ornaments for him. The value of what was collected came to about 100,000 dirhams. When it was presented to Kumayt, he said, "I have composed these verses to please Allah and His Prophet, and I am not going to accept money for that." Although Abdullah insisted much, Kumayt did not agree. It was, therefore, returned to all those who had contributed. Kumayt has condemned the evil deeds of Bani Umayyah in his verses. He made it known to the people that Bani Umayyah had been cursed by the Holy Prophet, and that they descended from those set free by the Prophet. In his verses, he stated that Imam Ali is the medium of salvation in the religion and the worldly life. The well-being in this world is dependent upon obedience to him, and that the success on the day of judgment is meant for those who are his friends in this world and who are attached to his wilayat guardianship. Kumayt performed this feat when Imam Ali was cursed from the pulpits and when it was more dangerous to be labeled a Shia than to be called a kafir. He composed these verses at a time when singing Ali's praise was an unpardonable crime, and its punishment was meted out in the form of amputation of limbs, hanging, and being buried alive. Kumayt criticized Bani Umayyah and accused them of persecution. He narrated their cruelties, which were hated even by the dacoits and the pirates, and mentioned their wicked ways and crimes in all gatherings and assemblies. He told Bani Umayyah, "O tyrants, you have become fat, sucking our blood. You are leading lives of luxury, whereas we are subjected to indigence and affliction." Indeed, Kumayt attacked class distinctions and instead divided the people into two groups. The first group consists of those who are gluttonous, who live in pleasure, commit crimes, and shed blood. And the other group comprises those who are thrown onto the streets like trash to die a gradual death. It is that very object which is manifested in the poetry of the Shia poets, and their forerunner is Kumayt. Ibn Zayd Asadi. George Jordak says in Al-Qawmiyat al-Arabiya 31, "The poetical revolution of the Shia against the despotic rulers, who did not distinguish between man and beast, was initiated by Kumayt." Kumayt says, "The Imams are politicians, but their politics is not that they should range the servants of the nation with the shepherds. Their policies are not like the policies of Abd al-Malik, Walid, Sulayman, and Hisham." Regarding Hisham and Bani Marwan, Kumayt said, "Sitting on the pulpit they talk of goodness and truth, but when they descend from it, they commit thousands of crimes. They say, our words are as effective as the words of prophets and guides, but our character and manners are those of the age of ignorance." Bani Umayyah imprisoned Kumayt and tortured him, but this devotee of all al-Bayt was undeterred. A verse of Kumayt says, "I don't worry nor fear Bani Umayyah, because notwithstanding their power, they are base. If I die, I shall not die in the state of doubt, suspicion, hypocrisy and ignorance." When Bani Umayyah 32 threatened to kill Kumayt, the valiant man replied, "O Yazid, shout, show off, roar like thunder, and threaten me. These threats of yours will not affect me." Another specimen of the audacity of Shia poets towards the corrupt organization of Bani Umayyah was Farazdak, who said about Hisham ibn Abd al-Malik, "His head is not worthy of leadership and the defect of his squinted eyes is quite apparent." The poetry of Kumayt shows that he desired that the descendants of one Imam Ali gain rulership, because this family would establish justice, bring blessings for the citizens, and attract the people to themselves. Indeed, they shall become the cause of deliverance from the hardships of the day of judgment and the wrath of Allah. To achieve his goal, Kumait did not refrain from any sacrifice. 33. Kumait supported his claim with Quranic verses, traditions of the Prophet and logical reasoning, which he quoted in his verses. Jahiz says that Kumait opened the door of reasoning for the benefit of Shias. Kumait says, if caliphate is suitable for those few persons, the nearest relatives of the Holy Prophet are more worthy of it. If the caliphate had been hereditary, your claim would have been correct. I say, if the caliphate is hereditary, Bukhail and Arjab tribes must also have a share in it. Kumait says about the descendants of Imam Ali, Ali's descendants are nearest to good deeds and far from bad ones. Bani Hashim are most kind to pay the rights of the people, and they are the best of all in the matter of wisdom. They open the hand of generosity and do not oppress or harm anyone. When the means of dispensing with Islam are brought, they display firm resolve in its preservation. They are the best creatures whether alive or dead. Their love rules my heart and only they deserve it. I do not follow anyone besides the infallible family. Who can I follow besides them? I don't follow but the true religion. Allama Iqbal says, O pivot of the praise of the tongues, O Yusuf of the caravan of lives, O gate of the city of love, O Na of the ark of love, O moon of the eraser of my false impressions, O victor of the Khyber of my heart. When we ponder on the compositions of Kumait, we observe sincerity at every stage. As his difficulties increased, his faith became more robust and firmer. Kumait's collection of 536 verses in praise of Ali, and the descendants of Imam titled Al-Hashmiyat, was first printed in Europe and then in Egypt. Arabic scholars, literary men, and Orientalists have also written commentaries on it. While Kumait was present in the court of the Umayyad governor, Yusuf ibn Umar Thaqafi, 8 guards attacked him with swords, and left him only when they thought that he was dead. During the last moments of his life, he opened his eyes and said, O Allah, Ail Muhammad, O Allah, Ail Muhammad, O Allah, Ail Muhammad. Reciting benedictions on Muhammad and Ail Muhammad, Kumait departed from the world, but the faith for which he sacrificed his life is the faith of millions of people residing in the East and the West. This faith will continue to exist along with Islam and the Holy Quran forever. The message of Kumait, his political ideology and faith make one object manifest, and that is sincere love for the descendants of Ali, and reliance on them in matters connected with this world and the hereafter. It was so because they were the best specimens of truth, justice, and equality. It was the reason Kumait performed jihad for the sake of his object and achieved the lofty station of martyrdom. 1. This term refers to the Tawaban movement of a group based in Kufa, who fought the Umayyads to atone for their failure to defend Imam Husayn, a note of al-Islam. 2. After the martyrdom of Imam Husayn, Mukhtar rose to avenge his blood. The al-Sunnah scholars were busy in his character assassination till this time. Ibn Taymiyyah has even labeled Mukhtar an apostate. Fatawi ibn Taymiyyah, Bab. Al-Bagha, Trail No. 27. 3. Volume 3, pg. 15. 4. Tabi'in is the term in reference to the generation of Muslims who did not see the Prophet but they saw the companions of the Prophet. Note of alislam.org. 5. Meaning a wicked, broken down person. 6. Atrocities and oppression had reached such a level that once during the period of Walid ibn Abd al-Malik, Umar ibn Abd al-Aziz screamed, Hajjaj in Iraq, Walid in Syria, Qurra ibn Sharik in Egypt, Uthman ibn Hayyan in Medina, Khalid ibn Abdullah Khazri in Mecca. O Allah, your world is full of oppression. Now please give some relief to the people. In addition to political persecution, these people also deviated in religious matters to a great extent. They unduly delayed prayers. They delivered the first Friday sermon in sitting position. On Eids, the system of reading the sermon before the prayers was started by Marwan, and for his descendants, this became a practice. Khilafat o-Mulukiyat, pg. 187, published by Idara. Tarjuman al-Quran, Lahore.